Hello, good day everyone. I'm Frida Litwina and you are watching Insiders. For the past 2 years, people have struggled to meet their daily demands, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, where all economic activities are very limited. People tend to use various ways to live life and meet their financial goals. And today, more than ever, the world has realized the fragility of human life and how a good insurance policy is a necessity than a choice. For this reason, people need to have their financial literacy updated so that they have knowledge to choose product and financial service company that is suitable to their needs and avoiding some uncertain financial investments. To discuss further about this topic, I have my guests here from Sun Life, Mr. Kevin Strain, President and CEO of Sun Life. Mr. Kevin, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your time.
Well, thank you, Frida.
And we also have Mrs. Ingrid Johnson, President of Sun Life Asia. Hi, Ingrid.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and thanks for being here. And we also have Ibu Elin Wati, which is the CEO of Sun Life Indonesia. Ibu Elin, terima kasih Bu atas waktunya.
Sama-sama Frida, senang bisa ada di sini.
Senang sekali bisa di kantor Ibu Elin ya, di Menara Sun Life. My first question will be addressed to Kevin Strain. Kevin, what philosophy has Sun Life adopted to serve millions of clients worldwide? Sun Life has been helping people of all ages also to achieve their health and success goals, and so that they can have financial security and also their life is healthier.
Yes, yeah. Well, you know, it's first and foremost, we're a purpose-driven company, right? Purpose. And our purpose is to help our clients achieve lifetime financial security and to live healthier lives. And so we've built our culture around that. We've built our strategy around that. It's something that our people really believe in. And you talked about complaints earlier about unit linked.
Yes.
I think that when you put the client first, when you think about the client's financial security, when you think about the client's health, you put that at the front of what you're trying to do, that changes how you develop product. That changes how you service the client. That changes the types of digital tools you have. So really it's about being purpose-driven and the nature of our culture, which we want to be caring, we want to be collaborative, we want to be optimistic. And so tying those things around how we do our business is actually what holds it together across the globe. And we're obviously a major financial institution. We were close to probably 1.2 trillion US dollars in assets under management. And you know, when you're a big financial institution that's in multiple geographies, having a clear purpose and aligning your culture, having your people understand the purpose and putting that front and center really helps to create that alignment.
But I think every human being's purpose in life is pretty much the same. They just want to be healthy, happy, you know. How is your company differentiate yourself, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. Well, you know, it's, if you think about lifetime financial security, lifetime financial security means across your entire life, right?
Yes.
So across your entire life, to create that sort of financial security, you need a combination of savings products, and the savings products could be accumulation of wealth, but also deaccumulation of wealth, like pension set products. So you need savings products that help when you're growing your wealth, and then also help when you're in your retirement, when you're actually seeing your wealth being expended. Then life insurance, because events can happen to people, and if you lose your life or your spouse loses their life, the impact on your financial security, it can actually be devastating. So the combination of savings products, life insurance products, and then of course health, right? And your health insurance, for many people, one of the biggest costs they ever face is paying for medical. And even in countries where, like Canada, where most of your medical is covered by the government, there's still other costs, right? So if you're a small business owner and you have cancer and you have to go and treat that for 6 months or a year or 18 months, you can't run your business. So we come in to sort of help in those moments where you really need us. And so financial security, you need to be able to tie together life insurance, health insurance, wealth products, and find ways to bring those into alignment. So we focus on planning tools, we focus on having long-term plans for people. So when I don't want to meet you once and say, I've got this life insurance product you're going to buy, and then never talk to you again, right? I want to talk to you over multiple years and develop a relationship that looks at life insurance, health insurance, and wealth products. And what we've recently found is that extending it into health has become really important. So finding ways to take this information that we've learned about you, take this relationship we have with our clients, and build other support for them. So for example, in Canada, we've invested in a company called Dialogue. Dialogue provides virtual care to our clients. So our clients can phone the doctor instead of going in. They can phone a nurse instead of going in to see them. And that's been really important in the pandemic when a lot of people did not want to visit hospitals. So we found ways to bring new products, new tools, a new innovation, very, very adaptive for the client base.
So the design of the product is made in such a way that it serves the purpose of
exactly.
what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, and we all know that the rise of insurance business has affected, of course, the economy globally. Ingrid, what is the role of insurance in the rise of Asian economy?
So this is why for us insurance is a very important opportunity in this market. The insurance penetration is still very low. In some countries it will be only 2 or 3%, like Vietnam. In other countries it will be more highly penetrated, like Hong Kong. And yet the client need is the same, irrespective of how much a person is earning. The health and wealth needs, the concerns around financial security, or their family, or looking after, some societies have what they call a sandwich generation, where they need to look after their parents and their children. So for us, being able to be part of the rise of this emerging middle class in Asia positions us wonderfully to partner with our clients through the ages and stages of their life. And that's what we hope. I mean, the population is probably around 2 billion of an emerging middle class within the Asian society over the next 10 years. That's what we are looking to partner with, and yet each market is very different in Asia. I'm just newly appointed, and just seeing the different countries in Asia, there's common needs, yet very distinctive and different in how we need to service those needs. And that's what we well positioned as Sun Life under the leadership of very important and effective CEOs like Ellen's here with us. Ellen will lead Indonesia. We have leaders across the markets being able to understand the unique needs, and yet we need to bring the global capability that we have as Sun Life, but uniquely distinctive in each of the markets we serve.
And this is your first time to Indonesia, right?
Yes, but not my last. I'm coming back next week.
Of course, we hope so.
We make sure she will
Ibu Ellen will be a guide for
Yes,
your
she's
next
a fantastic guide.
If you have more time, you can enjoy more of Indonesia, of course. And I'm sure you see that the low penetration of insurance industry in Asia more as an opportunity instead of a challenge, right? Like, there's so much opportunity for Sun Life to grow.
I mean, and that's the opportunity, is we've got to be very effective and innovative in the products we design, but importantly it's about the partners that we have to enable us to have an expansive distribution. So that's then the two important relationships that we have in Indonesia with Bank Malat as well as CIMB Niaga. Those are two very important relationships that are relatively new in terms of the expansion that we've had, particularly with CIMB Niaga we announced recently. And that's proven to be a really effective partnership, and it's both in conventional business and in Sharia. We want to be relevant to all in society and be able to serve our clients in that way. So it's partnership, but also it's our brand. Sun Life, as you heard Kevin describe, is an extraordinary positioning. That's actually why I joined the company, was because of the purpose. It just resonates deeply with what I believe I wish to contribute to society. And that's what we want to be able to do.
And to talk about growth, especially in Indonesia, we have Ibu Ellen to tell us a little bit more about growth in Indonesia, especially.
Well, you know that for us, Indonesia is a very important market for Sun Life. So we have been 27 years in here, and we try to build the growth in Indonesia by putting the clients in the center. So whatever that we do, so we think like, how can we reach the clients? How can we serve the clients, you know, like, so to reach the clients, then we believe on multi-distribution channel. So we have a very strong bancassurance with CIMB since 2029, and then we just extended to be more comprehensive. So we will have a range of protections and financials products for all the client segmentations, and then also with bank muamalats, you know, like to since 2019, tappings are very specific, Hajj products, and also the other segment markets. But at the same time, we also believe that agency is very important. So we have conventional agency. We are now have like 6,000 agents.
6,000 agents.
6,000 agents. Like we are in, I think we are now in 70, we have 70 branches under that, and then we have like around 2,000 agents in Syariah business, and we have like around 28 branches. So it's not enough to reach the whole Indonesia peoples, you know, like, but we're building that and we keep building it, right? So with CIMB, whatever the brands, we will be there. With Muamalat, we also will be there. But then that is to access the Indonesians and to help them to easier to get the insurance products, life protections, wealth, you know, health products. But at the same time, also we think like, how can we serve our clients better? So this is where digital play more parts, right? So we are creating some platforms where our clients can connect with us through, we have client apps, and I'm so proud of it. I think it's the best apps that I ever see for life insurance. So we have client apps where the clients can access any time to check the policy, beneficiary benefit, do claims, changing address, whatever it is, through one apps. And then also like virtual services, WhatsApp virtual services, you know, Zoom virtual services. Even if during the pandemics and we still carry it here, like if clients doesn't feel comfortable to come to office and meet the people, they can do virtually. So it's really virtual Zoom to meet our
Thanks to
customer
COVID
service.
as well, yeah? Thanks to COVID, we have all this technology being adopted instantly because it's a need nowadays.
And we also, you know, like put a good digital tools for our advisors, so they also enables them to service the clients better on that. So that is actually what we're doing and what we'll try to do in the future, because we think that is the way for us to grow more in Indonesia.
Great work there, but we still have a lot to discuss, but we have to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us. We will be back after this short break. You're still on Insiders and with Sun Life and Pak Kevin or Kevin. My next question is, from a wide variety of business and service products, how does Sun Life maintain a balance between protection of wealth management products?
Yeah, you know, as I was speaking earlier, we think that for our purpose of helping clients achieve lifetime financial security, you need this mixture of health,
And
wealth, life. But we've also been running, interestingly, about 50% of our income comes from the asset management and wealth side, and about 50% from the insurance side. So it's almost like a twin engine plane that's flying the company. Half of our income's coming from the asset wealth side and half from the protection side. And we kind of like that balance because the businesses react to different economic conditions differently. And so that provides a balance for us. But even more important to that, we've been looking for synergies between our asset management and wealth businesses and our protection businesses. And some of those synergies are, we have $200 billion in general account assets, that those general account assets are invested with our asset management companies, including seed money into those companies and that kind of stuff. And what that delivers is great returns for our clients that are in our general account assets, and it provides assets and cash flow to our asset management businesses. So the businesses actually work really well together. And provide performance returns for the protection products and provides cash flow for the asset management side. So we try to run it at about a 50-50 sort of a balance between the two. We've been building out our alternative asset management business globally. We also have a mutual fund business that's global, and then local mutual fund businesses in many of our markets. So it's a balance. It's about finding that right sort of piece between the two. But we've been able to sort of run that at a sort of 50-50 level.
That is a very good concept, Kevin. Balance between health and wealth. But in countries where the penetration of insurance is still low, such as in Asian countries, how are you going to explain to them that it is important to have that balance? And how does actually Sun Life see the opportunity to make financial security achievable for millions of people in Asia? Is that a big challenge?
So it's a big challenge, but we also know it's a big opportunity.
Yes.
And that's where, for Sun Life, we can differentiate ourselves. Because the biggest challenge we find in many societies, it's very consumer-oriented. Generally, there's lots of flashy adverts.
Yep.
People will see some beautiful sunglasses and they'll wake up and say, I would like some sunglasses. What they don't wake up is to think about their family and think about how I need to protect my child or my parents or my livelihood. And that's what we would love to do, is try and position in the minds of the consumer, but the actual client, to say we need both. That as much as we would like sunglasses, we actually need protection. And what we do say is life is brighter under the sun, and that's why I do need some sunglasses. But equally, what we would love is for clients to understand their whole lives and the importance of not only spending, but also saving and protecting. That's where the brand then comes into play, because the more we speak about it, the more we educate, the more we can start to shift the mindset of clients that, or consumers that can become clients, and then that shapes society to be more balanced in the whole.
But it's a very difficult thing to do when everyone's healthy. Like when they don't get sick, when they're healthy, they only think about holidays, consuming stuff like sunglasses. Like how does Sun Life do it in Asia especially?
Well, so it's a combination of things. So one, I've mentioned the brand, so that at a very high level helps to position for people to maybe think about it. The second is the distribution that we spoke about, the agency, just connecting with people. The third is through digital. It's just being accessible. Social media is the highest usage in the world with the highest screen time. So the more we can start to bring in messages that just help clients think, oh, maybe I should be thinking about this. But then it's important that we're very accessible. And that's probably the biggest challenge, is insurance is typically complicated.
Yes.
And yet, if our challenge is to make it as simple as possible, because we are protecting lives and providing financial security, but it is over a whole life, which then comes down to we need to build the relationship that's enduring.
I might add to that.
Yes.
I mean, COVID has reminded us all that not everybody's healthy, and that things can happen to your health, and they can happen relatively quickly. So, one of the things we've seen in Asia, in North America, in Europe, is that people are more aware now of health and health risks, and that it can change quickly. So, it's been something that we've seen some incredible amount of payments to clients that have had COVID in the United States in particular, because they've had a really high COVID rate and high COVID death rate. But also we've seen increases at times here in Indonesia, in India, in the Philippines related to COVID. So, reminding people that you can't take your health for granted, and that you have to be, prepared to protect it.
Yes, yes. And of course, each country is different. Each person is different, so they need different approach. And in Indonesia, what are Sun Life's efforts, Bu Elin, to actually maximize the huge potential that we have here, and to make it as a priority market even in Asia?
Okay, so I think Indonesia is a big potential market, so everyone knows that, right? But the insurance penetration is actually quite low, and that is actually starting with a very low financial literacy from the from our societies and communities. So what we did is actually we play very active in the roles of giving financial literacy through a lot of channels, right? So we work together through moms, moms community, because we believe that they are is the key to the next generations. But we also play a lot with other community to make people, understands that financial literacy is very important, and health is very important too. So that's why we also work together with on diabetics program through RSCMs and also University of Indonesia to build the research facility and support them with that. We do, fund runs to remind people. We do a lot of things to actually to increase the awareness of the Indonesia that they need insurance, they need protections, they need wealth, and they need health products, right? So that is very important, and that is our responsibility to do it together to make sure that financial literacy increase, and then people will have more policy, right? And then of course have to be supported by our multi-distribution channels that have to be strong through agency and bancassurance, and digital is always be the key. So clients feel like, we will be here for the next 50 years, 100 years, so it's not like they need to know that Sun Life will be here, right? So Sun Life in Indonesia, 27 years, we are here during the good times, during the bad times, we're still here. But then we back up by the corporates, which is the Sun Life Canada, which is more than 157 years this year, right? So we will be here to make sure that.
So Sun Life has been in Indonesia for 27 years, and you actually are the first Indonesian to be appointed as CEO, am I right?
Well, Mr. Strands who make it happen, actually.
So congratulations, Ibu Ellen.
Actually, it's something that, from a business perspective, we think is really important. And if you looked at most of our markets, maybe not all of them now, I think we have a local CEO, a local chief distribution officer. Sometimes we'll supplement that with either a chief financial officer or marketing even from the corporate, so that we can bring those two together. But you really have to understand the local market, speak the local language, because as you said earlier, each country is a little different, right? And so how you interact and how you create that, because there's an emotional element to buying insurance, because you're buying something that's there for when things go wrong, and you're buying something that could be in place for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. So trusting the company, but then understanding the culture. And so Ellen's been a great addition.
So the decision is actually very, very.
It's a very good decision.
On point.
That decision, helped create the next CEO of the company.
So Sun Life Indonesia is in good hands.
It's in good hands.
Well,
it's in good hands.
We will continue our discussion, but again, we will have to take a break. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us. We will be back in a moment. Thank you. You are still on Insiders, and I'm still with Sun Life. Kevin, between wealth and health, okay, we talked a lot about health. Now we want to talk about wealth. What is Sun Life's strategy as a leading financial services company to survive and thrive in this industry?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. As Ibu Ellen was mentioning earlier, we've been in business for 157 years, right? And so the core of our strategy is putting clients at the middle and putting clients at the center, and Ellen talked about that earlier as well. So when we always focus on the clients and the purpose, but that is wrapped around by increasingly measuring, having impacts on the clients. On the asset side, that's what's our investment performance? Are we getting the investment performance we want? Are we beating our benchmarks? What type of flows are we seeing into the funds? On the insurance side, it's are we seeing clients take positive financial actions? Are they building a plan? Are they taking steps towards that plan? On the health side, are we seeing clients take positive health actions? So we put the client at the center, but to support that, our strategy has 4 key elements. The first is digital, and we're trying to think and act more like a digital company, and that means that making data really important, understanding our clients using data, but giving new tools, new digital tools. COVID was a great way to force adoption of those tools because people couldn't get together. We'd been building the tools for a while, but so taking big steps digitally and trying to find ways to make us think and act more like a digital company. The second is creating high quality distribution where our salespeople, our people who are interacting most closely to the client, are thinking about these positive financial outcomes, who are thinking about the client, they're putting the client first, high quality distribution. We want to have advisors who stay with us for a long time and who can stay beside their client for that long sort of journey. Who we pick as bank partners is really important, and we're really pleased to be working with CMB Niaga here, and Bank Mamalat, who we met earlier today. So, you know, it's really important we have that high quality distribution, but we're a company that's been around for 157 years, and we plan to be around for another 157 years. So financial discipline is really important. How we manage our capital, how we manage our balance sheet and our assets becomes important. And finally, we've added sustainability.
Sustainability.
And we want to do our part to help the world be more sustainable. And that has multiple aspects to it, including sustainable investing and climate change and getting ready for climate change. It also includes financial security and healthier lives, and then being a trusted organization. And we wrap all of that with our people and our culture, and we try to bring in really, really good people. We try to have that culture I talked about earlier that's collaborative, that's caring, that's optimistic, and our brand. And we want our brand to represent who we are. And so I think you've seen more and more of our brand here in Indonesia, and we're seeing that across Asia and across our global operations. So our strategy has all of those elements to it that sort of come together to deliver to deliver our purpose.
It's interesting to see how you put digital as the first element in your strategy, because your company is pretty mature, 157 years.
Yeah.
You could easily put sustainability as number 1 and digital as number 4. Has it been like that forever, or
No, it hasn't, Frida, and that's a really good observation. I think that is one of the big opportunities we face as a company is to be able to shift into being more digital. Our digital strategy has actually 3 elements. One is making sure we have modern software, cloud-based, API-based. The second is, how does IT and the business operate together? And they used to operate as sort of separate. The business would say, I need this from IT, and IT would deliver it. Now we're saying, no, IT, bring us business ideas, and business understand how IT's working, work more agile, find things to do quicker, and then we're pushing the decision closer to the client. And the third element of our digital strategy is the client journeys, and understanding the client better and listening to the client more and pivoting more quickly to the client's differences. But that's a big change, and it's a big difference. And so we've put that first. We've been under this digital enterprise journey, we call it, for the past 3 years. We started it. We'd been doing a lot of digital things before, but we started this digital enterprise major shift just before COVID. It couldn't have come at a better time because we needed to make those changes. And so we were out in front of what was happening.
Yes, so it's just showing the world that Sun Life is agile and very adaptive to current situations. That's great. And Ingrid, what is Sun Life's strategy for building a leadership position in this fast-growing Asian market?
So what Kevin has described, what we call our client impact strategy. So that defines what we need to do in each market. Yet each market is distinctive, so we can't just say it's one for every market. So what we've then done is defined what does leadership mean in Asia, and we've thought about it through 4 lenses. So the one is where we already have leading positions. So if we take Philippines, we've been there over 100 years, And we have a very strong leadership position where we've been number one in insurance sales for 11 years. That doesn't come easily, and to
Yes.
sustain that success, we have to keep on being innovative and being close to our clients, close to the distribution, and just not actually ever letting go of that number one. So that takes a lot of energy. And also in India, we've chosen very wonderful partners in Aditya Birla, and they have really been fantastic in partnering with us on both asset management and on the insurance side. So those are two leading positions where we take that client impact strategy and partner with in India or with ourselves and say, now how do we keep doing that more strongly to continue to strengthen our position? Then the next markets is what we call position for breakthrough. So those are the markets which is Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam.
Okay.
Where when we look at the partners we have or the businesses, those are absolutely positioned for us to achieve leadership. We can see in our sales how, while in absolute terms, in total premiums, we may be 10 or 13 in position, in our overall sales, so in a particular year, we will be much better than that. So it shows that we're advancing. And again, it's around partnerships and client impact strategy and how we deliver that. The third, which is, again, we've been there over 130 years, which is in Hong Kong and Greater China.
Yes.
So that's China, Hong Kong. Those markets are huge competition, very, probably Hong Kong very mature. And
But
yet
higher insurance penetration,
it's
right?
much higher, and yet very innovative.
Yes.
And that's where we find we can be even more innovative. We've just launched an ESG product called Stella, which clients are very interested in, and we achieved a lot of interest and quite significant usage in the early stages of announcing the product. So what we've got is another very different strategy in Hong Kong.
Yes.
But in Hong Kong, for example, we don't have bank assurance, so whereas all of our competitors do. That doesn't stop us, because we say we just need to be more innovative around digital and other partnerships, and where perhaps you've got mainland Chinese visitors, Macau we haven't necessarily expanded into just yet. So even though we've been there a long time, we don't necessarily have the other penetration and a lot of opportunity around wealth. So the China Hong Kong access is exciting. And then we also have the eighth business we call high net worth, which we again have a leading position in through our Bermudan operation and more recently in Singapore. Singapore is a significant market and we're tiny. So for Sun Life, when we look at that portfolio of businesses, very unique in different states, but each one under empowering leadership to be able to deliver the client impact strategy.
So which one is more difficult, handling critical clients, clients who are really, really educated about insurance industry, or skeptical clients, like in countries where the insurance penetration is low, like in Indonesia, for example?
What we've recognized, we need to match different challenges with a different type of advisor or different literacy around them, because they're both equally challenging.
Yes.
The skeptic is very challenging.
There are a lot of skeptics in Indonesia, as I believe, but like you said, in Hong Kong, the competition is very hard because everybody's probably critical. They are educated about insurance.
And yet we do, so through the mandatory pension fund, we're actually number 2 in our overall positioning, and number 3 or number 2 in flows.
Right.
Which way around. But I think just to stand back, if I look at our leadership position in Asia, in all the markets that we operate in, we probably positioned number 7 overall. But actually in 2021, in the pandemic, very challenging, we were actually number 4 in insurance sales. So that means we actually are on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
Great job.
I might add to
Sure.
Ingrid's answer, though. Whether a client is critical or skeptical, they still need our products.
Yes,
right? They
true.
still need financial security.
True.
So I think we learn from all of them. And that's part of this digital journey, right? Of listening closely to our clients and helping them to understand whether they're critical or skeptical, why they need it. I think the fact that we've been around for 157 years and we've been there for so many clients through so many different situations, getting that message across is important, because I know there's there is skepticism around will companies actually pay in a lot of the
Yes, yes.
a lot of the
trust
Asian,
issues,
a lot of
yes.
trust issues, and I think that's something that we're very proud of the fact that last year we paid out close to 20 billion Canadian dollars now, so what US dollars have probably built 15 billion, over 15 billion US dollars in claims. It's a lot of claims, yeah, it's a lot of zeros, it's a lot of claims. So I would just go back to say, whether they're skeptical or critical, they still need our product, and we have to find a way to talk to them about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would like to elaborate on, of course, the Indonesian leadership, potential for leadership, but we will have to take a break. Once again, I'll be back with the question later. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back still on Insiders. Thank you. You're still on Insiders, and I'm still with Sun Life. I want to go to Ibu Elin and ask about the Indonesian market. Sun Life Indonesia has been here for more than 27 years, ya Bu, ya. How has it developed so far?
Well, I think when the first time when we came, you know, like we have joint ventures with one of the groups, and then during the 1998, actually, Sun Life took over the whole shares basically, and then we grow quite significant, and it's not always an easy times, but then we, as I said to you, that we prove it to the Indonesia societies that we are here during the good times, during the bad times, during, you know, economics difficulty in 1998, 2008, like we are always been here, and Sun Life committed to put investment in Indonesia and builds the company in here, right? So, as I always make a joke with Ingrid, that Philippines need more than 100-something years to be number ones. Trust me that we don't need that far away, right? We will build to be number ones, doesn't need 100 years. So I personally believe that we are a good organizations. We are very cares about our clients, and then we are supported by a very good management teams who are supporting each others, and then we are very disciplined on financial compliance and very big fans on digitals to make sure that our clients will be served better through the clients. So I think that's all put us have a very good foundations, and we have loyal agents, you know, loyal distributors that always support us, and we have good partner. So I think we will have a very great future in here. Actually, I do believe that. Right? So.
Kevin and Ingrid must be very happy to hear that.
Well, you know, we've actually made some pretty big investments into Indonesia. In 2014-15, we did a project called Bhinneka, where we invested into our agency. Last year, or I guess this year, we've invested into bank assurance with our relationship with CIMB Niaga. It's because we see so much opportunity, and you know, we see a market that's growing fast, that has a large population, that's going to be one of the important markets in the world. And so we have been investing into people and
Yes.
bringing people along. So too.
And in terms of commitment, what is Sun Life's commitment to creating a more sustainable future for clients, employees, and communities?
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, Frida, we've put it into our strategy.
Yes.
We've actually taken sustainability and put it as part of our strategy. And our sustainability strategy, that piece of it has 4 elements. And it's based on the United Nations sort of sustainability framework, financial security, and helping financial security in particular into underdeveloped parts of the market, health, helping people live healthier lives, sustainable investing. And sustainable investing has multiple components, but you know, we've made net zero commitments for assets. How do we think about sustainable investments? We've made a commitment for 65 billion new sustainable investments by the end of 2025. And then there's a 4th element, which is the sort of foundational element of being a trusted organization that's been around for a long time. And that has a lot of parts to it as well, including creating a diverse culture and thinking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and those types of things. So we've, more women in management. It's those are important elements to that sort of overall sustainability piece. So we've got, and we made our sustainability document digital for the first time this year. So, and which is also part of the being a trusted company, trying to reduce the use of paper, trying to find ways that our operations are net zero. So I would say, making sure that as a company we're part of the solution, not part of the problem.
And it applies globally in
Globally,
in
it's a
all
global
Sun Life offices.
it's a global mandate.
I was
Ingrid,
just going to add to what Kevin has described. So in saying globally, this is how we wish to focus on all these elements. I then looked at my leadership team across Asia and allocated explicit accountability to each of my leaders for elements of what has been described by Kevin. So we know now that every one of our leaders then needs to work cohesively to be able to execute that with the market CEOs. And now we have a much more cohesive effort, but aligned to the global intention.
how are you doing it for the Indonesian market, for example?
So that's where we would look regionally and globally. We connect around sustainable investing. So we have the best and brightest minds working then with Ellen's team to be able to innovate around the products. And maybe you want to talk also about the Harsh product.
Yes, so I think the sustainability is right. When people talk about sustainability, the first things that in their mind is actually zero carbons or reducing papers, but sustainability is actually bigger than that, right? For us, it's actually how we see sustainability is like how can we helps our clients to be sustainable on financial securities, right? So that is the parts that we focus more in here. So that's why we are focusing a lot on financial literacy, like because we want our clients when they being part of this big family of Sun Life, they will be here and we will be there for them in every stages of their life, right? And also for the next generation and next generation. So that is actually sustainability for us, right? So that's where we're focusing very much at this stage to make sure that our client have sustainable financial security in their life.
Okay. Ingrid, what are Sun Life's efforts to further innovate and then make it easier for clients to connect with Sun Life and also anticipate clients' needs?
This links to what Kevin described, Frida, around the digital transformation, because we were very aware that it's very not always an easy to access us, and it was often very paper-based. So what the pandemic also helped shift was that applications are probably in most markets close to 90% that are done paperless and through a digital application. And then equally on the claim side, we want to make it easy that if somebody does have a loss and they need to have access to that claim and to funds, we need to make that as swift as possible. Then we also look at the innovation around the policy, and what troubles me is we'll write a policy and then what happens, we put it in the bottom drawer and wait for that event, that day that we hope doesn't come. But what we need to do is try and have it more alive, that the client can almost choose the variables within their policy that says, well, maybe I need cover of 100,000. I now have a child on the way, I need to lift that. They need to think more deeply about the beneficiaries. We need to make it easy for the client to do that. So for us, it's stepping into the client need and being agile in also the different segments. So when we talk about financial literacy, that's in the early stages of the life cycle of the demographics of society. As people rise, we need to understand when their next decision is in that moment of truth. How do we then meet them for that next need? But then the product innovation we have alongside must be simple and easy and additive. And we want to just shift some of our own thinking to reimagine how we actually do insurance and wealth.
All right. Interesting, but I'm sorry again, we have to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back later with more talks on Insiders. Thank you so much. You're still with us on Insiders, and we're still talking to Sun Life. Kevin, in your opinion, because I'm aware that you are familiar with Indonesia, you've been here many times. In your opinion, how is the level of awareness of the Indonesian people in protecting themselves, especially through insurance?
Yeah, I think it's growing. I mean, there's still a low level of awareness if you went across all of Indonesia, and you see that because the penetration rates are low, right? If you look compared to, Ingrid was talking earlier, compared to Hong Kong or compared to Canada, compared to the US, there's less people who have bought or invested in insurance policies or even wealth policies. So the awareness is still low, but it's growing.
Is it because of the agents not many enough, or the people just don't want to, you know?
No, you know, I think as a developing country, people's priorities are first and foremost kind of survival, right? And as wealth starts to grow, as the middle class starts to emerge, I think then you start to see that there's more awareness. So I think it's a little bit of that sort of still developing, and the middle class still developing. COVID, though, has opened our eyes, right? Increased the awareness, and I think that that's something that, from our perspective, you know, we can find solutions broadly across, and creating that awareness for people. And Ingrid talked earlier about the sunglasses, right?
Yes.
Like in some cases, there can be some protection that won't cost you a lot, that fits your needs. And so that's, it's a journey. And in many ways, the industry is still new here and evolving and growing. But I do see the awareness growing for a variety of reasons. One, the economy is getting stronger, the middle class is growing, and two, you know, COVID just making us more aware.
And how do you differentiate between countries? Because in Asia alone, we have developed countries, we have developing countries. How are the rate for those countries going to be different?
Frida, that's such a well-founded observation. So Indonesia will be very fast-growing because it's actually off a relatively smaller base than potentially a Hong Kong, which is a more mature market. And yet there will still be areas within the Hong Kong market where we would still be fast-growing because we have low presence. Equally, we balance it to that earlier comment around having balance. We are very mindful of how we invest our capital, so that we have in some of our businesses what we call selective origination, where we want to write quality product that then achieves what the client needs, enabled by a broker, but also gives us appropriate returns. And it's that portfolio effect that then advances us at that level of medium-term growth objective.
Ibu Ellen, the Indonesian target, Kevin has said the percentage. So what is Indonesia's target?
Well, I think that if you see that CAGRs for, like, I think the last 7 or 8 years, actually our CAGR is almost like, the growth is like almost 40% on the new business, right? 40. But that's not enough for our markets. We should be do more than that, because the potential was there, the market was big, you know, like, and penetration was low. It's just like, how can we touch everyone's rights? I've been almost 30 years in industry, and I can stay long in this industry because I truly believe that everyone needs life insurance and wealth and health, right? So it's just like the stages. And when people, like, I have a lot of friends said to me that, you know, insurance is expensive. I said, well, so it's really depend on what do you need, and do you have to build it overnight, right? So you have to accumulate it through times and your life stages and everything, right? To make sure that you are actually protected, you know, both your wealth, both your health, and also, like, you know, like, to make sure that it's not like one night. It's have to be built through all the times, right? So we need to educate our societies and our Indonesian peoples, because it might look like you don't need it now, but a lot of things, when it's happened, actually you makes the family suffer, right? So that's why where we are, right? So I remember that I have a meeting with my teams, and last year during the Delta, we have huge claim, right? Huge claims, both for medicals and also for the that benefit. So this is my what I see, right? So a lot of people who buy mortgage, who buy house and get mortgage, they need to have insurance, right? So it's pushed by the banks. So we see a lot of debt claims from that, like not individual. It's mean that they buy because it's a mandatory from the banks that they have to do it, but individual product is not mandatory. So people doesn't see, like, people keep thinking that I can do it tomorrow, you know, like I can do it next year.
The ones
So
with KPR, they have to.
yes, because the mortgage was being pushed mandatory by the banks. Like I was looking at the numbers and I said, first, okay, I'm glad we are here, okay, although we pay huge claims, but I said, this is why we are here. This is why life insurance being set up in the beginnings, you know, to protect our clients during the difficulty times. So like see it as like, this is a proof that we being needed, right? But the second is also, I said, can you imagine that if the bank doesn't put life insurance as a mandatory for mortgage, what will happen, right? So a lot of Indonesian people will lose their house because they can't pay. It will be taxed by the bank. So, so how can we translate these needs to our Indonesian peoples that you need it, you like it or not, you need it, right? And you just have to build it through the times and everything. So that is our responsibility. So this is why I think Sun Life, I love working for Sun Life, because Sun Life always thinks that this is our responsibility to give it back to society, to educate it, you know, like our society on how important it's actually to have protections both for your health and for your wealth.
All right, very, very well said by Ibu Ellen. Maybe just last statement from Kevin and also Ingrid. Indonesia has faced, you know, a few cases related to insurance, unit linked. A lot of people have been disappointed somewhat by some insurance products, of course. How are you gonna? What are you going to say to Indonesian people who are watching our show right now, how to restore their trust upon the insurance industry?
You know, when we do product approvals, so when we look at products globally, we always look at client value as well as shareholder value. Mm-hmm. So when we're approving a product, we want to know that it's going to give value to our shareholders, because our shareholders put the capital in and they're looking for a return. But it equally has to have a value to the client. And if either one of those are not there, then we don't create the product. Okay. So we have a review process that looks sort of product by product. And I would say that you know, our commitment is to continue to put the client at the center. And so if we're creating products that don't have value to the client, then shame on us, and we need to take those away. And that's something we look, like I said, we look product by product and try to make sure that those products are creating client value.
As a customer, what should we do? I mean, how do we recognize that, oh, this product is not good for us?
Well, I think what's important is that initial engagement between the client and the advisor to really understand the product. So that would be also in the approval process, that we say, these are the attributes of the product and also the investments that underpin. There's a very important other aspect, is with investments comes risk. That's not risk-free. And there's another issue which we haven't had because we've been very realistic, but in the industry around the illustrations we give clients. And so what the regulator rightly is ensuring is corrected, and we've always done correctly. This is the illustration with some variable scenarios. If the markets are good, if the markets are bad, because investments can go up and investments can go down. Sure, and that's what we've got to help the client understand, is this is a long-term investment and they need to withstand short-term market volatility. We must be aware of that
before we buy the product, and we must do a lot of research.
Yeah, well, I would say a couple things. One, work with an advisor you trust. So, and interview your advisor, and maybe interview a couple of advisors, and work with somebody you trust. Look for plain language in the statements. Look for products you can understand. Yes. If you're not understanding it, keep asking questions. Yes. And we've tried to put most of our product work into plain language so that the clients could understand it. and you know, read up on it, do a little bit of homework and challenge your advisor, challenge the company. I think that's healthy, and that's that's good for the client. It's also good for the company.
And also to stay engaged. So I think what happens is we say, sure, we've done that, and then we go and buy the sunglasses.
What did I buy?
And it's a lifetime journey, and we just have to continue to interact with the advisor.
I think one of the suggestions that I will suggest our client is actually know your risk profiles, right? So whether you are low risk, mediums, or high risk takers, then that is come with different funds and everything, right? So knowing that what is the purpose when you buy the insurance, right? What is the purpose when you buy the policy, and what is my risk profile? So then you can match that, right? So if you have low risk profiles, then say no for equity funds, you know, like that is just one of the examples. And I think that's why also that the quality agent is very important, right? And don't sign anything before you know everything and you understand.
All right, thank you very much. Very well said. Again, thank you so much, Kevin, Ingrid, and Ibu Elin for your time with CNN Indonesia. Keep up the good work, and I hope Sun Life will be the leader very, very soon in Indonesia as well.
Amin, thank you.
And that was our talk with Kevin Strain, the President and CEO of Sun Life, and also with Mrs. Ingrid Johnson, President of Sun Life Asia, and Ibu Elin Wati, CEO of Sun Life Indonesia. I hope our discussion gives some inspiration to you to actually be aware of your health and wealth at the same time. I'm Frida Litwina. Have a good time and see you again.